Hello friends, Brandy here with Falcon Healing Arts, and welcome to the energy update for October 2023. I have another insightful message for you, and after I share it, we're also going to be going over 3 tarot cards, which are giving us more details about what we can focus on personally. And then we're going to be concluding this session with a wonderful meditation that's going to help you practice this message, to help you embody it. Okay, so you're getting the direct experience of how you can now integrate it into your life. So if you need to pause, go ahead and get a notebook. Make sure you have enough time for the meditation carved out, and when you're ready, let's dive in. So the main message of this month is to pay attention to the energy behind your words and your speech. I've talked before with these monthly messages where we've needed to speak up more. We've needed to express ourselves, to really build courage around this expression. This month, it's a little different. So it's paying attention to the energy behind your words and making the communication clear. So crystal clear between you and this other person, or with a group, whoever you're sharing to. It's this respectful communication, and there's a reciprocity of energy and a lot of trust behind it too. So start to notice when that is not there. And what you may notice as you reflect is sometimes we're saying too much because there's fear behind it. We're afraid of being misunderstood. So we're afraid that the other person isn't going to receive us correctly and our words correctly. So it's very much about their perception of us, not about what we're trying to convey. Notice also if there's insecurity behind what you're saying. Sometimes we say too much because we're trying to convince ourselves of what we're saying. Maybe you don't believe it in the first place. So you keep going and going until you're like, okay, that feels right, I guess. And you're hoping the other person does too. Again, this can all be very unconscious, and that's why the message is to pay attention. Pay attention. And I get into this too. I try to over-explain my process too much, where really this is something that's personal, that doesn't need to be explained to everyone. Not everyone really cares about that. And like for this situation, you're here for the message, not how I got the message. So that's one example of how I'm processing this. Think about you and your life, and about the energy behind what you're saying, what you're sharing with other people. Okay? So it is best to leave some things unsaid. All right. So you're resting your mind, you're resting your heart and your voice, and you're trusting that your intentions are coming through. And with regard to the person or people that you're talking to, this is also expecting that they are receiving you well. And you're expecting them to ask questions if they don't understand. So there's an element of trust with the communication too. And again, this is just for those people who are really involved and invested in what you're trying to say. Sometimes we also say too much because we're trying to pull people in who are not connected to us. That is a big energy leak. And that is why this message is so important, because a lot of us are leaking our energy. We're leaking our power through our voice. Okay, so we need to be becoming stronger with our intention behind our speech and the importance of the message. It's precious. This is something that is so important, coming from the heart and needing to be shared with others. So you're collecting that in the heart until the time is just right. Okay? So think about that. And this is how we are speaking. Now, we're also being asked to open up the heart, not just our ears and about what we're hearing from other people's speech, but how we're perceiving it in the heart. Because we're also going to start to notice this with other people. You can tell what is the feeling behind their message. You will start to see more insecurity. You'll see the fear. You'll see that they're becoming defensive. And again, when this is in a conversation with someone that you're really connected to, this can open up to a deeper dialogue where maybe you actually bring that up in a sensitive way. That maybe, is there something else behind what they're saying that you need to know about? So that'll make these conversations more meaningful. But you will start to notice this definitely with the people you are not connected with. And this is really important because as we are approaching a very sensitive time here in the United States, where we're coming within a year of an important presidential election, things become intense. And there's a lot of words said, a lot of words said. And when I was meditating before this and asking about what we need to know going into this election, because all of us are focusing on this, okay? Even those of us who have better things to do. Believe me, I try to focus on other things, but it is good to be aware of what is happening on a federal level, on a local level in your government. You're trusting other people to speak for you, okay? That's what your politicians, local and federal, that's what they are supposed to do. They're representing you. So really question, are you aligned with this person because they are aligned with your deep set values? Or are you discounting that and just going with what other people in your community are feeling, who they're voting for? I'm very aware of who my friends are interested in, but it's still a heartfelt decision on my part when I put my energy behind someone I'm voting for. So think if you could, so consider taking that more seriously too, that as you're voting, you're choosing someone to speak for you. Okay? So deeper messages behind the speech is what we are interested in. If something feels fishy, trust your gut. If there are a lot of words that aren't matched up with the energy you're perceiving, trust your gut. Inquire more about why this is. Because this will be happening a lot. And yeah, you may start to notice, okay, they're saying a little too much, they're defensive, they're insecure, they're trying to convince themselves, they're trying to convince me it's not working. Okay? So much power in you when you recognize that. Another message I got about politics was that you need to have a plan B. So definitely listen to other people. Have a few that you love, because a lot can happen in the next year. And there are a lot of balls in the air. Things can change at the very last minute. So be ready for that. Okay? And then also a big message that came through, kind of related to this, kind of not, was that we need to be reducing our scope. So the scope of what we're placing our energy into. This last year, these last couple of years, we have been asked to pay attention to events happening in other countries. That's happening a lot. And again, Just like the politics of your country, it's good to know, but that doesn't mean you need to be emotionally invested. And there are so many of you who are emotionally invested into a bigger, wider circle. This is diluting your energy, and this is the time to condense that scope. And it doesn't mean that you don't care about the people outside of you and your community. It doesn't mean that you want them to suffer. It is in your best interest to focus on yourself and what you're trying to build in your life. And those people who are telling you you're a bad person for not being invested in all of that, this is manipulation. This is something that you need to see. So most of us are not buying that anymore. Definitely try to reduce your scope. But this is not just about global things. It could be with a community you're involved in, and they're asking you to pay attention to things that you're not aligned with, and you're feeling some pressure to maintain that interest with them. That's something else where you need to establish boundaries. Okay, reduce your scope. Because that is an energy leak too. And these outside pressures are playing at our heart. That's not fair. Not fair. Okay, so let us talk about these cards now that I just pulled. This is from the Star Tarot deck that we've been using most of the time here in our energy updates. And the first card is the Moon, which we have picked a lot, many times. I feel like over a handful of times we have picked the Moon. And usually this is about transformation. And maybe as you see that card personally for you, that's what this could be about. But when I saw this card, this was tying in to this main message about speech. Here we see the two wolves howling at the moon. So they're communicating. They're communicating with each other, with their pack, and with the moon. They're seeing the moon as this entity almost, okay? It's this being that willingly receives what they're sharing. And that is a healthy way to express yourself. So this feels very literal to me. It's what's in the card here. And I don't know if you do this too, but I love walking in moonlight, especially when we get into the winter months where there's more darkness. I love doing this with my son. We go out, we bundle up, so we're in our warm clothing and we're just bathed in moonlight. We'll see if we can keep this up now that he's 13, but last year he was into it too. And it's a good time for us to communicate. But even when I don't have him as company, I love doing this by myself. And just like I do on my nature walks, I will talk to the moon. So consider talking to the moon as well. It's like she's a sister or a counselor. You can express yourself and not worry about judgment. You can express yourself and not worry about anything really. So this is pure. This communication, this relationship is pure. There's unconditional love behind it. And there is a reciprocity. You're receiving this symbol of calm abiding. The moon, when it sits in the sky, it's like it's just resting there. So it doesn't have the same energy of the sun, which is psh. The moon is more just sitting back and watching. So it's more of a meditative communication that you can be having with the moon. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to say about this. that it's communication with yourself, with nature, with those who you love, the relationships that you value. It's precious, this communication. And this can be done in secret, right? This is your own secret. It's like writing in a journal. But here you don't have, if you're worried about, that could be a block for many people who are not feeling safe with the relationships they're in. There's so much they want to express and they don't trust that they can write it down because they fear someone else is going to read what is coming from their heart and it just doesn't feel safe. This is a great way to do it safely. Say, I'm going for a walk in the moon. That's not that strange for most of us. Most people will understand that you need some space and express yourself that way. Okay, and this will help preserve your power, okay? Because you'll still feel like you're expressing, it's coming out, but it's not being manipulated by anyone outside of you. It remains pure. Okay, next we have the Queen of Cups, this beautiful goddess. So she has her chalice here at the heart. And this feels very literal too, that she's holding these precious contents in front of her heart, which is right next to the throat too. So these are her deepest desires. This is her inner wisdom here at the heart. So it's not just feelings. But there's so much wisdom around this. The Queen is the divine feminine. And here the Queen of Cups, this is the water element, which is associated with our feelings, with our emotions, with our relationships. So we are needing to hold this and to really fill this cup first. And when it feels sufficiently nurturing, then we can allow it to spill over and share with others. So, like the last one, I feel like this is literal. You need to fill this cup at the heart. And then I wrote notes about this too. Yeah, precious feelings. Oh, okay. And this feels protective too. She's holding this at the heart. She's guarded, but it's not closed. So she just has her hands actually supporting it. So it's not blocking the front or even the sides. It's supporting the heart and these feelings. It's lifting them up. So it's ready to block if needed, but really it's this supportive quality to it. And it's, your hands are up here. Her hands are up here because they are on guard. People have tried to manipulate you before with your open heart, have taken advantage of you. I do feel this is coming in strongly. And now you're noticing who those people are. So you're very aware and you're selective with what you share with them. And this manipulation may have worked before, but it's not going to work anymore. You know how good you are. You know the contents of your heart. And you don't need to share it and explain it with anyone. Okay? So that's what this card feels like. And then finally, the Four of Swords. So the swords is the air element. So air typically refers to our thoughts, ideas. It's more yang, masculine, creative energy. But here, in this image, we have many beings who are resting. So we have the fish at the bottom. I don't know what type of fish this is. It's a beautiful fish. It looks like it's sealed in ice. So it's like hibernating in very cold, chilly water. And above that, we have a person who is resting. And above him are three bear spirits So it looks like bears hibernating, but it looks more spiritual. And then above that are the trees, which are holding these protective swords. So it feels like there's layers of resting, of rejuvenation, and there's also layers of protection. There's also layers of interconnectedness. So there's a relationship between all these beings. You see, they're all resting, they're all integrating. This is needed for everyone. So I feel like this is a big message for everyone. It is tying in with this time of year where we all are moving toward this period of calm abiding. And regarding the thoughts, I mean, I also consider sound to be the air element. When we did the elements of nature rituals video, I was talking about using sound, using your voice to connect in with this element. Again, with this saying that thoughts and sound need to rest, that is very much tying in to this theme. Protection and building up your energy, building up your power from this rest. That is what's coming through here. Let me see, was there anything else? Yeah, quiet time, introspection, more inner questioning instead of outer expression or explanation even. Okay, so we're not explaining, we are going inward and we're asking ourselves more questions. And so now we will tie this in with a meditation. So make sure you are in a comfortable seated position. You can be sitting on the floor or in a chair. Let's bring your spine up straight. Close your eyes. And I'm going to guide us inward with the sound of the bowl. So as you listen to each ring of the bowl, you're guiding your mind inward. So you're noticing now on the inside how your body's feeling. As the breath is pulsating through your central channel, central energy channel. Notice how deep you can feel the breath moving. And let that sensation anchor you down. Planting you in this time, in this space, in your body. So you're opening up to the sensations of the inner body. And then also gradually to any feelings and any thoughts that are bubbling up. One of the biggest misunderstandings about meditation is that you're meant to quiet the mind. But really, we're allowing the mind to have space. You're actually listening to your inner dialogue. And so, just from the watching, you learn more about yourself, what your tendencies are, how you speak to yourself, what the intentions are behind this speech. And what I want you to notice as thoughts come in, which undoubtedly they will, that you ask yourself, why are you here? So you're asking yourself why you're thinking of this. Is it because this thought is teaching you something you need to know? It's going to benefit your growth and help your relationships? Or is this thought keeping you in the past? Is this thought making you doubt? Is this thought distracting you? Those thoughts that are informing you and helping you grow are from your higher mind, which is connected to the heart. Those thoughts that are distracting you from this precious present moment and may even be pulling you away from this meditation and the importance of this, those are from the ego. Let's just sit for a few more minutes. Just watch the breath in the meantime. And any thought that comes up, or if you become unconscious and caught up with the whole scenario, a whole scene or story, ask yourself, why am I here? What is this teaching me? Or is it distraction? And then just go back to watching the breath. feeling sensation. Exploring spaciousness. So the thoughts are like a cloud floating in to this space. You notice it, hear its message, integrate what serves your higher self, or rather your life here that will help you grow into your higher self. All the others we let float on by. We'll be here for just about another minute. Of course, you can extend this meditation if you're getting a lot of information and you have the time. But you could always return to it later. And then we'll slowly come back. And again, with the sound of the bell. Body and breath in the foreground of your awareness. Open up all the sense organs except for the eyes. Keep them closed just a little longer so the others can become more alert. You're alert now. Let's slowly stretch out in any way that feels good. Finally, opening your eyes. So I hope that you learned a lot about yourself with that brief meditation. Again, you can return to this if you feel like you didn't get enough. Typically, it's good to sit longer than 15 minutes so you actually start to get a little uncomfortable and your mind will start to talk more and try to pull you away. And that's when you really notice that inner dialogue. So sometimes it comes in heavy at the beginning, like, why are you doing this? Sometimes it's more at the end where it's like, hasn't this been enough? So anyway, if you would like to share what you gained insight about, you can leave a comment below. I would love to help you if you have any questions about the meditation or about the message. I always intend to come in and also comment about how the month is going, and I'm not going to make that promise this month since it didn't happen last month. That's too much pressure, too much pressure. But if I happen to think about it, maybe I will. But whatever, this message is here for us for the month of October. I hope it serves you well. That is the purpose here, just to direct you in a more mindful way, to be more deliberate about your choices and about your intentions. So I look forward to connecting with you again, friend. Much love to you.